Tonight on News 5 Live, a state of emergency follows the violence that has gripped Belize City and Roaring Creek. The leader of the opposition says don't blame a concert for the increase in violent crimes. 2 men are charged for murder, including Marquise Conarchy, who shot and killed Stanley Moore on Sunday. And tonight on Culture Tuesday, we visit the legend of Shy Bay. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
13,835,700 eggs are eaten by tourists each year, fueling our thriving economy. Tourism means business.
There's no need to travel far when there's so much beauty here in Belize. Moyuna Resorts invite you to plan a staycation with a special discount at Sweet Sounds Jungle Lodge, the Watermark Belize Hotel, and Hopkins Bay Resort. Escape to paradise with 15% off local rates for multi-bed or multi-bedroom units through August 31st. Enjoy the mountains of San Ignacio, island life on Umbergris Ski, or the calm coast of Hopkins. Give us a WhatsApp text at 671-4977 to book your stay. That's 671-4977 for this exclusive Belizean offer.
Get ready for the most electrifying season yet. KTV The Remix Season 6 premieres on June 25th with the audition show. Who will walk away with bragging rights and the $10,000 grand prize? Tune in to find out. The excitement begins at 8 p.m. on Channel 5 and our streaming platforms. And it doesn't stop there. On July 2nd, the bliss comes alive once again with the live show starting at 8 p.m. KTV The Remix Season 6, where dreams become reality. Don't miss it, right here on Channel 5.
Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Tuesday, June 25th. I am Sabrina Daly. Another state of emergency is in effect for neighborhoods on the north and south sides of Belize City. It is the second SOE within the past 6 months in an attempt to arrest the spike in violent crimes carried out by feuding gangs. Earlier today, simultaneous operations were conducted in the Victoria Street area, Lake Independence, and other parts of the city, where several individuals were rounded up under the latest emergency declaration. The Commissioner of Police is on record blaming a recent concert for the rash of gang-related shootings and murders within the past week. The leader of the opposition roundly criticizes the Compol's approach and says, "Don't blame the violence on music and entertainment." Tonight, a handful of alleged gang members is in police custody. And if the commissioner has his way, they will remain on lockdown at the Belize Central Prison for the next 3 months. We begin our newscast tonight with a report from Isani Cayetano.
This morning, teams of law enforcement officers swarmed around various neighborhoods in Belize City, including Lake Independence, where another state of emergency has come into effect. The SOE comes hard on the heels of a violent weekend that saw a deadly attack on 2 men inside a vehicle on Mahogany Street. Several days earlier, in a separate shooting incident, another individual was murdered near LaCroix Boulevard.
This morning, the police department launched a state of emergency on Southside Belize City, as well as over on that side, Victoria Street, include that entire jungle area. So this morning, as you see, the police are out in full force, along with members of the Belize Defense Force, and we are pursuing those persons who we want to be detained as a part of the SOE.
A state of emergency is declared in specific situations to address safety and protection concerns of citizens. According to the Commissioner of Police, the unabated bloodshed is a spillover from several altercations that occurred on the night of June 15th. Hundreds were in attendance for the Trinidad concert. In its wake is a flare-up of gang violence.
They had the concert, certain things took place at the concert, and there was where everything started. It spilled over after the concert, and then it permeates the city. We now have to deal with the aftermath of that.
An operation is underway on the streets of Lake Eye. A checkpoint has been set up on Western Avenue, where vehicles entering and exiting onto the George Price Highway are inspected. Since the campaign began, the Belize Police Department has recovered firearms, ammunition, and various quantities of cannabis.
The police have recovered a number of firearms and ammunition within the Belize district and the Cayo area. I must say that since we started our operations in the Salinaso Santa Elena area, the team there have seized at least about 4 firearms and a number of ammunition. So it goes to show the work that the police has been doing in those areas to be able to crack down on the issue of crime.
In Roaring Creek over the weekend, the police station in that village also came under armed attack when someone produced a .40 caliber weapon and let loose a barrage of bullets in the direction of the building, sending a police officer scrambling for cover. An SOE has also been declared in 2 western communities, including Cotton Tree Village, as a result of that incident.
We are in search for that individual. As I said, we know who he is, but we have not been able to locate him. We're hoping that pretty soon we will be able to do so. We have gotten additional information. I will not divulge that to the media at this time, surrounding that entire incident. And so, as soon as the investigation is at a level where we believe we can share certain things with you, then we'll do so.
Can you explain to us why Cotton Tree is included in the SOE?
We do have a number of elements who are originally from Roaring Creek, but they have moved over and take up residence in Cotton Tree. And those people are among the group of persons who are terrorizing that entire western corridor. They commit burglaries, robberies, shootings from Cotton Tree all the way to the border area. And so it is important for us to be able to capture those persons as a part of the SOE.
Back in Belize City, 2 men have been arrested and charged for murders they allegedly committed. Among them is a suspect in the Sunday afternoon murder of Stanley Moore.
We started operations since yesterday, and we have been able to detain a number of persons who are wanted for murders. As you'll see on our media blog, we had shared with you yesterday the arrest of 2 individuals. One was arrested for the murder of Elwin Lewis, which took place a couple months ago. That person had been on the run for a number of months from us, and we were able to locate him yesterday. And we also charged, I think, Marcus Kanaki for the murder of the guy Moore, who was killed on Sunday during the day. So those 2 individuals were captured as a part of these operations, and we have also detained a number of other persons who the GI3 will be looking at for a gang investigation, and a number of persons who are wanted by CIB for different investigations as well.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
Following the state of emergency declaration, the leader of the opposition slammed the government for what he describes as having no solution to the increasing crime rate. This afternoon, Shine Barrow also said his party has been suggesting a change at the helm of the police department for quite some time. He pointed to the increase in murder rate compared to last year and criticized the Commissioner of Police for blaming the Trinidad concert for the recent gun violence.
You have the Commissioner of Police blaming music as the reason for the current state of emergency. It is music now, it is concerts, it is DJ Trinidad. He's the reason that people are killing people. Please, this is the reason that Chester has to go. There has been a 45% increase in the murder rate. We have 58 murders already, from January to June, whereas last year we had about 40 or maybe 45. And so we have a significant increase in the murder rate. The United Democratic Party has been saying for the last few years that the Prime Minister needed to make adjustments in the Ministry of Police, and we stay by that. We have been saying that Chester Williams has reached his expiration date. You know, milk tastes good, but after a certain date, it is useless. And we are seeing that with the Ministry of Police. They completely lack leadership. They lack the competence at the two most important positions, which is the Minister of Police and the Commissioner of Police. And what we see in Chester Williams is just a defense attorney for the government of Belize. There is no accountability. There is no willingness to accept shortcomings. There is no willingness to work with stakeholders.
24-year-old Marquise Anthony Conarchy has been arraigned and remanded to the Belize Central Prison for the murder of 32-year-old Stanley Moore and the attempted murder of 27-year-old Joshua Gillett. As we reported on Sunday evening, Moore and Gillett were traveling in a BMW from the direction of Central American Boulevard towards Oleander Street when two men on a motorcycle rode up beside the car. One man on the motorcycle pointed a firearm at the BMW and opened fire. The two men on the motorcycle then drove off towards the direction of Amandela Drive and made good their escape. A wounded Gillett drove himself and Moore to the KHMH. When police arrived at the hospital, Moore was found dead inside the passenger seat of the car while Gillett was being treated in emergency. 2 days after the shooting, police have arrested and charged Marquise Conarchy. He was taken to court and read 4 charges, including murder, attempted murder, use of deadly means of harm, and dangerous harm. In court, no plea was taken from Conarchy, and due to the nature of the offenses, bail was denied. He was remanded into custody at the Belize Central Prison until August 26th. According to police, the main suspect, a 26-year-old man from the St. Martin de Porres area, remains at large. Conarchy was presently out on bail for robbery. That trial is ongoing. Rudolph Bubba Youth Lewis was murdered on March 22nd. Tonight, a second suspect is behind bars in connection with his shooting death. 21-year-old Robert Arnold was brought before the magistrate's court where he was read a single charge of murder. Arnold is now charged jointly with 22-year-old Travis Herbert, who was first arraigned on May 6th. In court today, Arnold was unrepresented, and due to the nature of the offense, he was denied bail and remanded into custody at the Belize Central Prison until July 5th. That is also the date that Herbert will appear in court for a second time since being arraigned for murder. As we reported, on March 22nd, Lewis was riding his motorcycle from the direction of Elston Kerr Street towards Central American Boulevard when two male persons on a motorcycle came from behind him and fired several shots in his direction. Lewis later succumbed to the injuries he sustained while being treated at the KHMH. The murder scene was visited by scenes of crime personnel where expended shells were recovered from the scene, along with a green Lifen motorcycle. Police also viewed several video surveillance footages in the immediate area, and footage was retrieved as evidence. Witness statements positively identified Travis Herbert as one of the men riding on the motorcycle from which the gunshots were fired. Regis Street resident Doris Grant and her common-law husband Austin Underwood were arrested and charged last week for being members of a gang. The couple was arraigned and remanded to the Belize Central Prison after being denied bail in the lower courts several days after they came under gunfire while returning home from the Trinidad concert. But what brought about the charges for the embattled businesswoman and her common-law? Here's how Compal Williams responded to that question.
The GI3 has a responsibility or a mandate to investigate every person who we believe are members of any criminal gangs in Belize. They did the investigation, they had the evidence, and they brought the charges. The matter is now before the court, and I leave it at that.
Suspected murderer Ellis Main remains in the United States, where he is seeking asylum. Main fled to the U.S. after reportedly killing Placencia resident Roy Lee Burgess and severely injuring Maya James during a shooting incident along the Placencia Road on April 14th. Efforts are being made by the Belize Police Department to have him repatriated and stand trial for murder.
We have submitted every required documentation to our counterparts in the U.S., including the wanted poster, the arrest warrant, and a number of other documents. They have acknowledged receiving those documents, and so I believe that they're just going to go through the asylum process because I think he's claiming asylum. And once that is rejected, then he should return to Belize. And once he returns to Belize, we have everything prepared for him to be charged for murder.
The Belize Police Department is yet to make an arrest following a shooting incident in Roaring Creek that saw the police station in that village come under heavy gunfire. The Commissioner of Police says they know who they are looking for, but are yet to catch up with the alleged perpetrator who opened fire on the building, sending PC Amin Leslie diving for cover. But what led to the brazen shooting, a first-of-its-kind attack on a police department? Here's more from Commissioner of Police Chester Williams.
A person may do things for various reasons. We don't know yet what's the reason. We have a basic idea. But to say that it's an anti-police sentiment, I will not go that far. But I will agree with you that it must be condemned to its greatest term. And the person who is responsible or persons responsible must be brought to justice. And we're going to make sure that we do what we can to have that happen. We are concerned. Our police station was shut up. That's like our house. Our police officer life was put in danger. But I'm not going to make it more sensational for you. What the media wants is to make it more sensational to try and make the police look bad. I'm not going to play into your games. I'm not going to do that. As I said before, we condemn it to its strongest term, and all of us as a society, including the media, should condemn it to its strongest term. We cannot do things or say things that is going to make criminals feel like we're glorifying them, because that is what propels them to do the things that they do. The fact that you saw the number of operations in Roaring Creek yesterday, the fact that we call an SOE for Roaring Creek, it shows that we're not taking this for granted, and we're going hard after those persons who are responsible.
Was it the station that was targeted, or was it PC Leslie in particular?
At this time, we don't know. We have done interviews with PC Leslie to try and verify from him if it is that he had any personal issue with anybody per se. That interview yielded that there is no one he believed would have been able to do that. So we're looking at maybe just a random act, someone who wants to create a scenario for themselves. And so that's how the investigation is looking at this time. Had we just left Roaring Creek and not Cotton Tree, then they could always say that they no longer live in Roaring Creek, but now live in Cotton Tree. And detaining them would be a violation of their rights. So capturing Cotton Tree brings them into the fray and makes it better for us to be able to deal with them.
Coming up, Shine, Willoughby, Port Leola, and the wedding ring.
Hello, friends. I'm Dr. Bob Roberts with another 60-second sermon from God's Word. The Bible says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." It was several years ago in the town of Dangriga, Belize, that the Lord taught me the true meaning of mercy. We were with a group of college students conducting a revival meeting in Dangriga. The young people were on the streets inviting people to the services, while I went to the gas station to buy gas for my truck. As I was driving through town, I suddenly saw a group of young people, and wanting to stop and invite them to the crusade, I did a very foolish thing. I could not see anyone behind me in the rearview mirror, and so I stopped my truck in the middle of the street and started backing up. I backed right into a man's car. I got out to survey the damage. I expected to meet the fury of the man, but I met the fury of the young people whom I was wanting to invite to the crusade. They began to shout to the Latino man, "What are you going to do with that white man? What are you going to do with that white man?" The Latino man would look at his car and then look at the young people. Realizing there was not a lot of damage and infuriated by the antagonism of the young people, he simply nodded for me to go on. Suddenly, I realized what real mercy was. I was wrong. I had backed into a man's car, but in mercy he forgave me when I needed it desperately. You know, that is exactly what Jesus has done for every one of us. We all deliberately sinned against him, but the moment we came to him in repentance, he says, "Thy sins be forgiven thee." Today's 60-second sermon has been presented by Christian Foundations of Faith in cooperation with the Baptist churches in your area.
Well, sir, I really did go through some stress with my barber. This man here, they push my hairline way back to the 90s. Sure. People, they call me BB Buck Farid now.
So I got a problem, right? I just do this photo shoot, and I want the best photo shoot. But somebody don't want me to post it up. I just tired of this, man.
And I want to tell her to catch me on my way. I stopped at the shop and tell the lady I want $5 tacos. You could imagine when you give me? No.
What are your problem?
Honestly, life good for me over here. I just upgraded to the Digi1 Elite. I have unlimited postpaid plans, Digi TV, free home phone, and the fastest home internet.
I going to upgrade mines now.
In Belize, we value our families, we value our communities, we value our neighbors. 90% of Belizeans think it's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect society at its best. 94% of Belizeans agree that public spaces in Belize should be more accessible to people living with disabilities. In Belize, we believe in fair treatment and supporting one another. We know that our beautiful country is at its best when we come together for the greater good. 2 out of 3 Belizeans support a new law to prevent discrimination in employment and public spaces. It shouldn't matter where we come from, who we love, or what we look like. Belizeans deserve to live our best lives. It's time for laws that protect all of us and reflect our society at its best. Equal Opportunities Bill. Belize, we're ready.
At RF&G Insurance, we're committed to safeguarding what matters most to you, offering coverage mile after mile. Our offices and agents located across Belize ensure that you are protected. Secure your property with RF&G Householders Comprehensive Policy. From your home to your belongings, we offer protection so you can enjoy life to the fullest. For more information on your coverage options, contact our team of experts today or visit your local agents. We'll be ready to assist. Don't forget, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a Rowe Group company.
Former Port Leola Representative Anthony Boots Martinez has been making strides to get the PUP area representative in that area, Gilroy Usher, removed through the court system. The UDP had Philip Willoughby as its standard bearer in the area since Usher's victory. But the party is looking for someone else to represent it at the next general elections. That's because during a recent meeting of the UDP's leadership and executive bodies, a decision was taken to remove Willoughby from that position. Willoughby recently got married, and reports are that it was Barrow who sponsored the wedding rings. But the person who Willoughby married is the daughter of his political rival in Port Leola, Gilroy Usher. And when the news broke, it came to the party leader as a surprise. Today, leader of the opposition Barrow said that this revelation, along with Willoughby omitting that bit of information when he shared the news, is something he should not have done.
The decision was not a unilateral decision at all, by any means. But I certainly was disheartened. I was disappointed because I had stood up for Mr. Willoughby when he received massive criticism after the extremely poor performance in the municipals, and I was going to stick with him and see him through to the general elections. But when the news came out, coupled with the omission, like, you saw the information that he mentioned everything except that it was the daughter of his opponent, which I would think, definitely something he would want to tell the leader of his party. And regardless of whether I was generous or not to help him with the wedding ring, I would think as a leader of the party, it would certainly be something. If you're telling me that you're getting married, you might want to mention that part. But I took the matter to the cabinet, because he used to serve in the cabinet, and unanimous. Everybody said that there's a conflict of interest there. This is not, I'm not saying that Philip is a bad person, or I'm not here to condemn him or crucify him. I'm just saying there's a conflict there and we can't take the risk. It's just a matter of risk management, and certainly all of us feel that omitting the information definitely casts a cloud of suspicion that just cannot be removed, because why? We don't even understand why you did it, we don't even understand anything about it. Like you said, it's unprecedented. But if there were a benefit of the doubt to be given, it would have been given at that point. And he could have said, this is what it is, man. Please understand, it's a Romeo and Juliet, and walk me mentally through it, so that when we got to that point, I would have stood up for him, possibly the way that I stood up for him under other situations where he was under attack. But there was nothing that I could do. I call him Philco. I called him and told him, do the right thing, brother. Don't put the party through this. So I'm not upset with Philip. I don't have any grievances with Philip. Maybe he does with me, but I don't have any problem. I wish them well, and I'm happy to have contributed to the wedding ring, and I hope that they live happily ever after.
While the leader of the opposition also spoke about the recent breakage in some sections of the Coastal Plain Highway. Last week, portions of the road washed away under heavy rains. Notably, the Coastal Plain Highway was opened less than a year ago. Today, Barrow said the opposition was shocked at the deterioration, but blamed it on the government for compromising quality for savings.
Saying, climate resilience, and just completely dishonest. But what this highlights is all smoke and mirrors. They said that they were cutting costs. What they were doing was cutting quality, just to try to say that they were doing something special and they were implementing cost-saving measures. But you don't cut costs at the risk of what we're having now, which is that the infrastructure is washing away. And so this is shameful PUP tactics, which is it was more important for them. And then you hear about all types of corruption in infrastructure. Even the current Minister of Infrastructure, when he was in opposition, and he and his Prime Minister, Briceño, they claimed that so much corruption was happening in the infrastructure ministry. With the lack of transparency, the lack of opening the pay stream, the lack of procurement measures, tendering that is happening at infrastructure, that they get like $200 million every budget. We don't know where that money is going, how it's being spent, and whether we're getting quality. And now we see that we have a quality issue where the coastal road is concerned, and I would not blame it on the contractor. I would blame it on the government that forced the contractor to deliver outside of the agreed upon quantum that it would have taken to get it done where it would be climate resilient.
While the UDP looks for a new standard bearer to represent the party in Port Loyola for the next general elections, out in Belize Rural South, the leader of the opposition is banking heavily on the support of the party's former area representative, Manuel Heredia, to take that seat from the PUP's Andre Perez. Barrow said they must do what is in the best interest of the UDP, and they are relying on whoever Heredia recommends, and maybe the party holds a convention if there are other candidates in that constituency.
We had a situation in Belize Rural South, and the candidate had to be moved. We voted for the candidate to be moved, and then we need to move forward. So certainly I played a role as far as going to the constituency and meeting with very many members of the executive, past and present, including Manuel Heredia. And so no one is mentioning that the crux of the matter with Belize Rural South, no one is icing Mr. Guerrero. He has applied. But what happened is no one else was allowed to apply. There was a rush to fill the vacancy, and at the objection and protest of people like Manuel Heredia, who I will say right here and right now, we cannot win Belize Rural South without the support of Manuel Heredia. Bottom line. And I want to win. Andre Perez, the weakest candidate of the PUPs. He and Usher are neck and neck. We can definitely win in Belize Rural South, but we cannot do that without the support of the former minister. We have to do what is in the best interest of the party in order to win in the Belize Rural South constituency. And so the fact that Mr. Guerrero was not sworn in allowed for us to correct the error and open up the application. It is not that Mr. Guerrero, his application is there, but now the former minister and whoever he thinks will be the best candidate, and anybody else in Belize Rural South that is a member of the United Democratic Party can now apply, and we may have a convention.
Barrow has a wish to make necessary amendments if his party becomes the next government to allow for Belizeans living abroad who want to vote in subsequent elections to do so from where they live. Today, he explained to reporters his reason for holding this position on the matter. He used his mother, who lives abroad and who has lived in Mesopotamia and still supports that community, as an example for having this position.
You don't have a problem with the principle of being able to vote in a constituency in which you do not live, in which you do not live the reality.
You see, you look at the two examples, Bukele and the United States. When they say they treasure their diaspora, they live it through policy, through legislation. When we say we appreciate the remittance, we appreciate all the give back from our diaspora, which really helps our economy. How could you tell, like my ma, that supports whoever in Mesopotamia, and I was born in Mesopotamia, we live in Mesopotamia, why would my mother, who still helps people in Mesopotamia, not have a right to vote in the division where she has her ties and has her roots?
After the break, where does Belize rank on the Trafficking Persons Report? But first, here's the weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
shoppers, are you ready to save big? Quality Foods is excited to announce our mega sale happening June 28th and 29th. For 2 days only, enjoy 10% off on all grocery items, but look out for specially tagged items up to an incredible 50% off. You heard that right. Now it's the perfect time to stock up on your grocery favorites. Quality and savings go hand in hand during this incredible sale. Don't miss out on these amazing deals. Join us on June 28th and 29th at the corner of Branchmouth and Joseph Andrew Drive in San Ignacio for the Quality Foods Mega Sale. Your wallet will thank you.
Quality poultry products, this stuff is we chicken.
Toledo East needs a new representative, and Dennis Williams is the right candidate at the right time. A fresh face, but a seasoned activist.
In 2002, I started with the former Minister of Human Development, Eden Martinez. I was active in the campaign, village to village. In the town council, I supported Mayor Floyd Lino, Mayor Fern Gutierrez, Mayor Ashton.
Wow.
So whenever there's election, I go full force, yes. I go full force.
Having established a close connection with his people, he is ready and able to serve as their area representative.
And I decided that, you know what, I am hearing from them direct. I am already serving the people. If I can do it in that capacity, they will be the first person that I will look after.
A more approachable and compassionate person you cannot find. This, combined with his drive to get things done, makes Disha just the area representative Toledo East needs.
After the election, I don't see red, blue, white, green. I will help everyone. And they know that I am a person, I have this drive that nothing will stop me. Mm-hmm. And we have been neglected for too long. So I want to be the person to make the difference.
It is time for change, and Disha will make the difference for Toledo East.
I'm connected. Yo.
I'm connected.
We're connected. Create the perfect broadband bundle that fits your style with Smart Connect. With the Junior Bundle, get 50% off your national calls and up to 6 gigabytes of data at no extra cost. Get postpaid added on for an additional cost of only $25 with the Prime Bundle. Stay connected with unlimited smart-to-smart calls plus 6,300 megabytes of data and free international minutes. For the family, get the Binge Watchers bundle with Netflix add-on for only $28.13 more. This bundle gives you 4 profiles with unlimited streaming on multiple devices. Visit a showroom near you to sign up and personalize your own bundle combination with Smart Connect. Smart, bringing people together.
Greetings. On this World Environment Day 2024, I stand before you as your Minister of Sustainable Development and Climate Change with a message of hope and action. The theme for this year, land restoration, desertification, and drought resilience, calls us to unite in safeguarding our precious land and natural resources. Belize, our home, is facing challenges posed by land degradation, desertification, and drought, threats that require urgent attention and collective effort. It is imperative that we take a stand to protect our environment, for it sustains us all. Together, we can make a difference by promoting sustainable land management practices, engaging in reforestation efforts, and implementing water conservation measures. We can build resilience and ensure a more secure future for our children. Let us commit to being stewards of the land, guardians of our environment. Together, let us work towards a greener, more sustainable Belize. Happy World Environment Day 2024.
Defenders no frightened for nobody.
The pinnacle apex of the BEBL is here. It goes down this Friday night inside the Belize City Center. Yes, fans, Muy Uno Resorts and Old Capital Sports brings to you the last serving of Friday Night Lights. And it features your Belize City Defenders versus the Venice Hurricanes in a decisive game 3. This series has been nothing short of exciting, and game 3 promises to be even more. This Friday, June 28th, it's Defenders versus Hurricanes. Gates open at 7 for tip-off set at 9. Fans, don't forget, we have the 1, 2, 3 halftime challenge for a whopping $4,000 in cash. This you can't afford to miss. Tickets go on sale Friday morning, 11 a.m. at the Civic Center ticket booth. Sponsored by
The legend of Ishtabai is a tale of jealousy and vengefulness. The story of two women, one promiscuous but kind and the other pure but cruel, has been told across the Yucatan Peninsula for decades. It is said that the malicious spirit lures men to their demise with her beauty as she roams the earth in her afterlife. In tonight's episode of Culture Tuesday, News 5's Brittany Gordon dives deeper into the legend that has impacted the lives of many who grew up in rural Belize, inspired authors, and even earned itself a movie. Here's that report.
Upon approaching, we felt the cold seed and this huge, no good feeling at all. They're like your normal self is fighting this different encounter. And then we realized that there was no one. No, we didn't see no one, and then we realized that immediately on the dock, we saw some footprints. But instead of that of a human, we saw something like a turkey and something else different, like two different footprints. Like you could see the footprints walking all the way to the end of the dock, and it was really, really fresh. And you could see the turkey or the chicken, and then when we saw that, we look at each other and we just run all the way home,
If you were to see a beautiful woman with long black hair beckoning you over on the side of the road, would you think twice about approaching her? What if the woman was cloaked in white and had one foot of a turkey and the other of a goat? Then the thought may cross your mind that you are looking at the spirit of Ishtabai, the femme fatale luring you to your death. David Ruiz, a Belizean storyteller, details the legend.
It comes from that pre-Hispanic Mayan culture, which represents a princess, a Mayan princess in ancient Yucatan, who is hexed by another lady because of jealousy. No, she was being courted by one of the noblemen, and the other lady, gets jealous and hexes Princess Sulai, Ishtabai. And from there, she's kind of doomed to roam the planet eternity in search of a suitor, of a male suitor. And that's where it comes to us as the lady that the temptress that attracts men.
The vindictive spirit is known for targeting men because even though she lived as Utskalel, a pure woman, she died with an evil heart, unlike her counterpart, Exkiban, who, although promiscuous, was shunned by society, embodied characteristics of good and kindness. Aurelia Shaw says that he encountered Ishtabai twice in his youth. He detailed the second encounter to us, where he stumbled upon a woman brushing her long black hair while he was crossing the Blue Creek Bridge at 4:30 in the morning.
I kind of stopped for watch, and then, but when you stop for that few seconds and trying to make that connection, that is where it lets out the I don't know, I don't want to call it evil spirit or whatever, but
negative energy.
And that energy was so overwhelming, and it started to compete with yours, and then that's when it started to bring you down. The cold seed, like I feel like all my hair stand up, and it's quite an encounter. Honestly, you get really afraid, and immediately then and there I realized that was the Ishtabai, and in no time, like somebody spray one perfume where just one very, very strong scent of one natural something, like one perfume, that way let out. And then like in no time you see that there is nothing in the river, no? But you know that it's the Ishtabai.
According to the legend, those who are lured by Ishtabai don't typically live to tell the tale, as she turns herself into a snake and devours her captive. Shaw says he was fortunate both times because he was taught how to recognize malicious spirits.
Growing up, you learn a lot of things from your grandparents, from your parents, and especially learn to survive and traditional knowledge. So I would know what to do and what to you say you leave prayer, and you find yourself being trapped or to be overcome by any of these things, and I think this is the uniqueness of our culture. We adapt and we learn to live in harmony with nature.
Ishtabai is so solidified in Belizean culture that a movie depicting the character was produced in 2012 by the late Matthew Klink through the production company Make Belize Films. It starred a nearly all Belizean cast and was filmed within the country. Klink's former business partner Horatio Guerrera told us about the role of Ishtabai in the film.
The plot of the story is we have these students that escaped their village in San Antonio because a curse has been placed on the village, and the people are in fever, some are dying, and then the village is locked down by the government because they're afraid for it to spread. And then these group of adventurous students escape into the jungle to see if they can find the cure or how to break that curse from the Ishtabai. And of course, from there, everything escalates, and they go into the jungle and they start, meeting with the demon and having, all these encounters. Then, to see if they find to break the curse of the Ishtabai.
Guerrera explained that Klink's vision for the movie was to create something that would capture the attention of and resonate with Belizean audiences.
He needed something where the audience would be captivated, and something that all Belizeans would know about. So upon his arrival here and talking to people, he saw that folklore was something that Belizeans are very much into, and everybody, across the board, doesn't matter, Mestizo, Creole, everybody kind of knows about folklore, and the Ishtabai just seemed to be that creature, that monster that would captivate.
Brittany Gordon for News 5.
Belize has maintained its Tier 2 status on the U.S. Department of State's Trafficking in Persons report for 2024. According to the report, the government of Belize does not fully meet the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking, but it is making significant efforts to do so. The release notes that the government demonstrated overall increasing efforts compared with the previous reporting period. As a result, Belize remained on Tier 2. Among the achievements listed in the report is the conviction of 2 traffickers, as well as the continued prosecution of 5 alleged traffickers. The U.S. Department of State also commended the government of Belize for identifying more victims and increasing investigations. The report, however, notes that the government did not meet the minimum standards in several key areas. It says, quote, Belize did not adequately address official complicity in trafficking crimes nor initiate any new prosecutions. The government did not take adequate measures to screen Cuban medical workers, People's Republic of China nationals, or Indian workers for indicators of trafficking. It also did not adequately oversee labor recruitment or train its diplomats, unquote. A release from the government of Belize says that the Tier 2 ranking acknowledges Belize's substantial efforts to comply with the minimum standards for the elimination of trafficking. When we return, sustainable harvesting is the future of lobster fests.
Have you heard about the once daily pill that can help prevent HIV?
Pre-exposure prophylaxis, also known as PrEP, is a once daily prescription medication that helps you lower your chances of contracting HIV. PrEP may not be for everyone, so speak to your healthcare provider to find out if PrEP is right for you.
PrEP does not prevent pregnancy or other sexually transmitted infections, so it's important to use a condom every time you have sex and to get tested regularly.
PrEP. It's something positive to help keep you HIV negative.
You must be HIV negative to qualify for PrEP, so you need to get tested for HIV immediately before and every 3 months while taking the pill.
So what are you waiting for? Talk to your doctor about your risk of HIV and find out if PrEP is right for you.
Make staying safe a habit. Step up, PrEP up.
Let's take a journey through the core functions of the Social Security Board. It all starts with registering as an insured person, employer, or self-employed individual. Sign up for a portal account to manage your Social Security information online. Just provide accurate information and click Create. This will give you access to a range of services and benefits. Next, your contribution, along with investments and other income, are collected and distributed into 3 funds. This ensures that the SSB fund is securely utilized to support various benefit programs. The SSB is committed to providing essential benefits such as sickness, maternity, injury, and pension. These benefits are paid out to eligible individuals as a part of the Social Security coverage. We help you navigate through life's challenges with financial security. Annual surplus accumulates to grow the fund each year. This surplus is invested into various industries, contributing to the growth and development of our nation. With each passing year, the fund continues to grow due to the annual surplus and interest revenue earned from prudent investments. This surplus, along with reserves, helps to bolster the SSB fund and provide a safety net for those in need. We've arrived at the end of our journey to better understanding how the SSB works. We remain committed to serving you and building a secure future for all Belizeans.
First, once the inspection passes, we'll do the connection for you.
Our teams at BEL continue to serve you.
Shop smart for your Samsung devices in Belize and enjoy benefits you won't get anywhere else. When you shop locally for your Samsung, all your devices will be covered by a 1-year local warranty. You won't get that when shopping with the other guys. When in doubt, always look for the Cellular World seal to know you're getting the real deal. Shop with confidence and enjoy your Galaxy knowing that it can be repaired locally at our Samsung Service Center by certified Samsung technicians using original parts and machinery. Even better, enjoy the best LTE experience in Belize, knowing that your Samsung devices are compatible with major local carrier networks. Get the ultimate Samsung Galaxy experience only when you shop from authorized Samsung resellers nationwide.
Last night, we brought you part 1 of a 2-part report on lobster fests in Key Cocker and San Pedro. We showed you the economic impact of these festivities on the 2 tourist destinations. Tonight, in part 2 of our report, News 5's Paul Lopez takes a closer look at the sustainable fishing practices that are important to ensure the longevity of Belize's lobster stock and the beloved Lobster Fest celebrations. Here's that report.
The 2024 lobster season is upon us, and there will be an increase in demand for lobster. Hundreds of pounds of lobsters are sold by restaurateurs during the Lobster Fest weekends.
Thanks God that every year that I have participated in Lobster Fest, I've had tails on the booth till late at night, and one year I sold 256 pounds of lobster.
We usually get at least 100 pounds. To see if we will sell all of that. If we sell all of it, we have fishermen that they will be waiting for us, our call.
We start off with maybe like 30 pounds to start off the first day, and then it just depends how people, because the lobster fishermen, they're ready. You know, if you run out, they bring you fresh, so it goes from the fishermen to your grill to your belly.
All that crustacean is sourced directly from the sea by fisher folks who see their largest earnings during lobster season. For fisher folks, preparation begins months ahead of the opening of the season. Jody Leslie has been a commercial fisherman for the past 15 years. He uses shades to catch lobsters. Shades are an alternative to traditional traps. Lobsters use the shades as a dwelling place. When the season opens, Leslie dives down and makes his catch from the shades.
There is a high increase during Lobster Fest, but the good thing is that the lobster season just opened up, so there is plenty of lobster readily available during these first few weeks of the opening season, which is Lobster Fest as well.
On the other hand, Porfirio Guzman, a fisherman for the past 5 decades, utilizes a combination of shades and traditional lobster traps. His practice has evolved with the times.
It changed a lot. It's changed a lot because here in Key Cocker, we used to use lone lobster traps. Now we have another thing, statics to catch lobster. We call it shade, lobster shade. So everybody, most of the young generation now, instead of going to trap, they go into lobster shades. It's a bit easier to work than the traps. It value about the same price of a lobster traps, or a little bit more the lobster shades will cost. But it's advantage that with the lobster traps, after the season is closed, you got to take them out of the water, put them to dry. Then you got to rebuild them. That's the traps. Rebuild them. Then put them in the water 2 weeks before the lobster season open. And then you throw them back to the destination areas. Put them. That's where the traps. The shade, no. The shade, you cannot take them out. They stay there.
According to Guzman, a good shade can last anywhere between 2 to 3 years on the seafloor. There are regulations in place that guide fisher folks like Leslie and Guzman. The minimum shell length that can be caught is 3 inches and the minimum tail weight is 4 ounces. Leslie uses a hook to pull lobsters from his shades, which requires some eyeballing expertise. He also takes with him a measuring tool known as a caliper. He then takes his catch direct to restaurants.
It's been fluctuating every year. I feel like last year it started around 35 Belize a pound per lobster tail. Usually 2-3 lobsters to tails to make a pound. But every year is a little different. I'm not sure what it's going to start at this year. We've been having some conversations within us fishermen. Everybody try to keep at one same price.
And the fisher folks start their sales at $30 to $35 a pound. Then it is no wonder why a lobster tail dish can cost as much as $65. To ensure that lobsters are available for generations to come, fisher folks must abide by the catch regulations in place. Restaurateurs also play a role when they refuse to purchase undersized lobster, though temptations may arise when lobsters become scarce.
I think most people already here in San Pedro are very aware that we need to take care of our industry, right? So we have to make sure that if we buy lobster tails, they have to weigh 4 ounces. And make sure that they're not soft shell. Make sure that the fishing persons that are bringing lobster are licensed fishermen, because that's a big one. We cannot be buying from people that are not licensed to fish.
I've been in this business in my restaurant almost 26 years, in the food industry more than 30 years. Believe me, I just look at the lobster and I know the size. So I know, and I think I have to put it in the scale, for sure.
If you don't follow the rules, I don't buy your product, and that's how the game is played.
Why do you think it's important to follow the rules?
It's very important because we want to have Lobster Fest for years and years and years. We don't want to have Lobster Fest and then it turns out we don't have any more lobster to fish or more lobster to serve people.
Reporting for News 5, I am Paul Lopez.
The Mundo Maya is a region that includes parts of 5 countries in Central America, including Belize, where the Maya civilization once flourished. In 1992, these 5 countries came together to establish the Mundo Maya organization to develop the region's cultural value and promote it to tourists. The Ministry of Tourism took on the presidency of the Mundo Maya organization in January. This week, the ministry is hosting delegates from Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala for strategic planning sessions. These delegates will also be participating in the National Institute of Culture and History's annual archaeological symposium, set to begin on Wednesday in San Ignacio. We stopped in at the strategic planning session here in Belize City, where we spoke with Nicole Solano, the CEO in the Ministry of Tourism, as well as Honduras's Vice Minister of Tourism.
As you know, archaeology is an important part of the tourism product. We work all the time closely with the Institute to make sure that we can support wherever we can to develop those sites with tourism infrastructure and for the tourism product. So we continue to work along with them. The symposium begins tomorrow, and that will run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But our Mundo Maya delegates will actually do presentations in the afternoon tomorrow, so they'll be talking about tourism best practices and a number of things. The idea of Mundo Maya is to have regional integration where we come together around the common product of the Maya history and heritage. So we're talking not only of the archaeological sites. As you know, there's the entire Maya world. You have Chichen Itza in Mexico, you have Tikal in Guatemala, there's Copan in Honduras. Of course, Belize, we have Caracol as one of our large anchor sites.
We have important cities of the Mayan culture. We have Copan Ruinas, we have the Entrada Copan, we have the Parque Los Naranjos, which are really important and they're really attractive for tourists around the world. Honduras has 2 main products, which is the coral reef. We're part of, with Belize, of the 2nd largest coral reef in the world, and we have the Mayan heritage, which we have focused on Copan Ruinas now. But it's really important because people of countries that they love knowing and getting to learn about cultures, they want to come to our countries and see what we have. And as we have a product in common with all these 5 countries, it's important that we develop multi-destination packages and tourists can travel around this route and see what we can have in a lower cost and in a longer stay.
The Belize network of NGOs, BNN, has kicked off a new campaign, and it's called Belize We're Ready. This initiative supports the Equal Opportunities Bill, aimed to create a leveled playing field in Belizean society by introducing protections against discrimination. BNN hopes that this will afford all Belizeans an equal and fair chance at success. The The bill contains 22 key points outlined for protection against discrimination. Here's News 5's Brittany Gordon with more details on the endeavor.
Belize is on the verge of change, and the Belize network of NGOs hopes to be the driving force behind that change. By launching the We're Ready campaign, the organization is bolstering its support for the Equal Opportunities Bill. NGO Senator Janelle Chanona explains why this piece of law should be passed.
The bill in its name describes what it's trying to do, and it's creating equal opportunities for all. And I think, as we just heard, even as specific as the bill is trying to be, 22 characteristics, we're just hearing that, specific to the violence aspects, maybe it is that we're looking at gender-based violence as a part of specific categories of who the bill is looking at. And I think that's why I like the name, the Equal Opportunities for All, because it doesn't matter then how we are different. It is that the bill is working to address and be inclusive and protect and enshrine the rights that, as we just heard some of the panelists reference, that we were led to believe we were born with, but that now we know we have to legislate in order to get to the point that we feel like we have those rights.
According to Chanona, there are laws that provide certain protections against discrimination. However, Belize does not have a comprehensive legislation to address the issue. The Belize We're Ready campaign is aimed at creating public awareness and knowledge of the status of the bill. Dr. El McKay, chair of the BNN, further explains the campaign.
We, as the Belize Network of NGOs, we advocate for good governance, for sustainable human development. So it is our mandate to look at laws like this that help us advance our human rights agenda and that help us reach our potential, in terms of human development. We can't have true human development if we still have discrimination rampant in our society. And I think discrimination is something that we can all identify with, either because we're too young, we're too old, we're women, we are, from a different race or a different culture. So discrimination exists in our society and it's a reality. So this is just saying we are ready for a law that promotes equal opportunities for all and creates a more just society for Belize.
The bill was originally drafted in 2019, but has since been updated. There are 22 points outlined for protection, including gender, HIV status, race, and religious beliefs. Chanona says that the change is long overdue, but the BNN is prepared to put in the work to ensure that every Belizean has the chance to live up to their fullest potential without being hindered by discriminatory practices.
The name of the campaign speaks to it, is that we're ready for it, and that if we're ready for it, then we should be working to make sure that that legislation takes form and is enacted as soon as possible, because we need to be ready to address. I think as a Belizean, it's really difficult to hear that one of the principal factors underpinning our challenges is stigma and discrimination. And if that doesn't give all of us pause to see where we can, in our respective roles, address stigma and discrimination, it's really and truly what we need to be doing as Belizeans for each other.
Brittany Gordon for News 5.
On Monday, members of the Maya Forest Corridor Coalition sent an open letter to Deputy Prime Minister Cordell Hyde and Minister of Sustainable Development Orlando Hebet, expressing concern regarding deforestation within the Manatee Forest Reserve. These activities are due to alleged illegal encroachments and the issuance of lands. The letter states, quote, "These activities are causing significant environmental damage and are being carried out seemingly unimpeded by the relevant authorities without public knowledge or consultations with key stakeholders," end quote. NGO Senator Janelle Chanona and Dr. El McKay, chair of the Belize Network of NGOs, provided further details on the situation.
I think that is the fundamental question, and it's cross not just from this perspective but across, that who is actually making these decisions? Who is actually in charge? Who is managing? Because if we're saying on one hand we're committed to biological corridors, we're committed to protected areas, we're committed to the integrity, knowing the goods and services that those areas are protecting, how is it that people are coming out of left field saying, but I have a title and I am doing this and this isn't a land grab, this is that? That is really the fundamental issue, I believe, from where I'm sitting in terms of making sure we know who is making these decisions, why are these decisions being made, how come the decision isn't being shared in terms of informed decision-making, consultative processes, because at the end of the day, these are not questions that we should be asking after the fact.
A forest reserve is a category of protected area, and by our national protected areas legislation, land shouldn't be issued there, nor should there be any clearing that is happening. So clearly there is something happening in this reserve. And like I say, we are aware that there has been some land issuance. Now, we don't know who issued those lands. It could have been a previous administration. It could have been this government administration at a different time. How the land was issued, we don't have all those details, but we do know that there are titles granted within this protected area. And so what we are saying is, this is very detrimental to all the work that we have actually been doing with those very same ministries and the government of Belize to protect the Maya Forest Corridor, because in fact the corridor and Manatee Forest Reserve are one large pathway, if you want to call it, that connects Belize's two largest forest blocks. And so there's no point in saving a portion if another portion is getting destroyed.
In the wake of the onslaught of wildfires that destroyed thousands of acres of land during the dry season, co-managers of protected areas are now grappling with the intense flooding that has now commenced amidst the rainy season. After such devastation, a few co-managers have expressed frustration with the lack of funding and support. NGO Senator Janelle Chanona and Dr. Elma Kay, chair of the Belize Network of NGOs, say that the support needs to be a collective effort.
The national conversation has to be, how do we make sure that the co-managers are bolstered, are supported, are enhanced, that is called out. It's really tough, I think, to see all of this kind of international accolade and we embrace our reputation, but how do we make sure that we can maintain that integrity? And as you said, make sure that nobody feels abandoned when they're doing work that has national implication, benefits, goods and services across the board. And it is that, we have to make sure, because they're there, because they're rendering this service on behalf of everyone, that they get the resources they need. But that is the support. And if it is that it comes across as criticism, then yes, but it is certainly a collective response that has to be in place.
I think wildfires was something that it was always protected area managers and co-managers that were bringing to the forefront. But I think this fire season has absolutely shown us that this is something that touches human lives in a very direct way. It's no longer an indirect way where we would say, oh, it's just our forest burning, and now we will have reduced areas for capturing water or watershed protection. Now it's actually affecting people's homes, people's livelihoods, people's farms. So I think it's really pointing out to the the gaps in capacity that we have. I think there's a lot of hope. NGOs and other co-managers have for a long time been training in this aspect of fire management. And so I think the capacity is in country for us to help communities and others to build that capacity. But obviously there is also a responsibility of the state and, our social responsibility as communities to want to improve our capacities to be able to deal with this in a proactive, not a reactive way, as we have always done.
Up next, Citco says Belize City must prepare for climate change.
Prepare for the heat and stay cool with a Reamer Gree air conditioning unit from Benny's. Choose the right BTU unit size for your bedroom or living room and enjoy complete comfort. You can also save money with an inverter unit that is energy efficient. When the heat is on, stay cool and comfortable with an affordable, dependable AC unit from Rheem or Gree. Available at Benny's. Quality and savings.
The Mega Bingo Progressive Jackpot is going up. You don't want to miss the next show. This Wednesday, June 26th, you can win a whopping $477,025. All that cash might have your name on it. That money can surely change your life. And it only takes one $2 Mega Bingo ticket. Make sure you get yours and tune into the next show airing on Channel 5 and Love FM at 8 p.m. Or catch the game online on Facebook or YouTube. Just search for Belize Mega Bingo. This is the chance of a lifetime, so don't miss it. The jackpot can be yours. And remember, Mega Bingo is the game.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a Lone Ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
My name is Leomar Langzert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer with these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Internet should be more than fast. NextGen 360 gives you peace of mind, security, room-to-room coverage, all under your control. Can your internet do that?
The heavy rains that were expected over the weekend didn't arrive. Had they come, the streets of the old capital may have drained off in very little time. Mayor Bernard Wagner told reporters on Monday that prior to the March municipal elections, the Belize City Council had carried out a robust drainage project across the city. The mayor also encourages residents to clean the drain in front of their homes to keep the water flowing and recede quickly. Even so, he cautioned that climate change will bring floods that we will have to adapt to.
We did 127 streets out of 730 streets in the city. And so those 127 streets, we ensured that we had addressed drainage, that we had addressed the culvert situation, ensuring that culverts form a part of your rehabilitation of streets. We reshaped a lot of the earthen drains, the drains that have the concrete bottom. I had some of my team members on Central American Boulevard digging out sludge that has been accumulated for years in some of the areas, North Front Street, behind Westland Diva. This has been a consistent, ongoing drainage maintenance, drainage rehabilitation. So I don't see the flooding, and flooding will become a part of our life. That's a reality now. It's climate change. You see it happening in Florida, you see it happening in New York, you see it happening in Chetumal, right close to us. So it will become a part of our life. We could stuck our head in the sun and pray like it will not happen to us. You have to now look at how you mitigate and how you adapt to this climate change that is upon us. At the city, we will continue to do our part, and we ask that the residents do their part as well in ensuring that the drains in front of the house get clean it out, dig it out. I do mines in my area every 2 weeks, right? It has to become ownership from us and the residents. Together, we will be able to put in place a sort of mitigating action and adaptation action to really begin to change that trend that is occurring.
The mayor explained that the pumping station near the Yabra Bridge is ready to kick into action whenever there is excessive rains that cause widespread flooding in Belize City. But one other issue that is a bit trickier to deal with is derelict vehicles. The mayor says that the council has an ongoing program to remove derelict vehicles. It's a recurring issue because as soon as they remove the vehicles, more are parked on the street sides again. There is an area on the Faubers Road extension that the council is paying keen attention to, and they will put traffic markers on the street to try to prevent the problem from repeating.
We are looking through our traffic committee, and they are putting together some sort of recommendation where we will look at really redlining that entire stretch up to, I think, Rio Grande Crescent. But we have done a study of all the residential homes along the Faubers Road. And in that study, our city planner found that there are spaces for people to park on the area that is owned by the city for most of the homes. So we are looking to pass a required SI after the consultations with the residents in that area, in the Faubers Road area. But we are looking to redline that entire stretch, right? From the boulevard, we'll redline it up to Rio Grande Crescent. No one will be allowed to park on that street once we have completed the consultations. But that is where we want to go, because we have seen that is a main thoroughfare for many of the big trucks going into the port area. And many times people traversing that area has to be waiting while the next vehicle come out. And so that is one of the solution that has come out of the traffic committee to really address that situation that has been long pending and has really been a pain for residents and pedestrians and motorists driving in that area.
And the parking meters that the Belize City Council introduced during their last term of office was met with reservations by many motorists. There was objection by families who visited the BTL park and refused to pay the parking fee. Now the Belize City Council wants to expand the project to other areas in the city. On Monday, Mayor Bernard Wagner explained what their intentions are with the parking meters.
The parking meters are here to stay. I will not go anywhere. The parking meters actually, we want to see how we can expand those parking meters. We are currently in negotiation with the principal owners of both of the two vendors, because we want to really buy them out and to see how the city can really take charge. We have the in-house capabilities to really manage it in a more efficient manner, and so we we are having those discussions.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available at channel5belize.com, on our Facebook, and on YouTube. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, good night.